Welcome to Hope on Fire, relevant talk radio for young adults. Whether you're 25 or 45, there's bound to be a discussion that you care about. Our mission is to share practical ways to find God in your everyday life. And now today's host, Chris Lang.
I don't watch much TV, but every once in a while I find ads about getting into shape. Here are some of the kinds of phrases you hear frequently. 6-second abs, easy shaper, incredible, a miracle. Let me show you how easy it is. And of course, one of my personal favorites was the one that claimed visible results in just 2 3-minute sessions. Excuse the language, but these claims are a bunch of hogwash. Rick, can we say that on the studio here? Hogwash?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
If you want to know why so many goal setters do not become goal achievers, you can pore over a bunch of enlightening academic studies about goals, or you can watch infomercials for 18 minutes. Where did we ever get the idea that getting into shape is supposed to be quick and easy? Why do we think that there will almost never be a cost? And why are we surprised when working out turns out to be challenging to our priorities? Hello, my name is Chris Lang, and I'll be your host today on our program entitled Crank Up Your Energy. Our purpose today is to discuss how exercise enhances every aspect of your life and really is the best magic bullet that medical professionals can offer you to lower your stress, lower your risk of depression, and reduce sleeping problems, not to mention reducing your risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease and cancer. I want to introduce the people in the studio today with me, especially to try to get all of you to a sense of motivation to start to get yourself in gear to be healthy for your families and for yourself and for your spiritual life. With me here is Rick Mann, my co-host today, and my good friend. Rick, welcome.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I'm probably a living example of the type of person that needs this kind of show. So,
you ready to crank up your energy?
I'm ready. I've been ready.
And also with us today is Loretta Bacchiocchi. Loretta has a master's degree. She's a professor at the Florida Hospital College of Health Sciences, and also an ER nurse, and probably a bunch of other things I don't even know that Loretta does. Welcome, Loretta.
Thanks. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Loretta actually is our contributing editor for Health and Wellness on Hope on Fire.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that you get to know everything else that I also do.
Awesome. Well, we may not have time in 28 minutes today, but
I'll give you a little taste.
And also with us is PhD professor at Florida Hospital College of Health Sciences, special guest Keely Kuhlman. Welcome, Keely.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you all with me today on this very important topic. You know, so often when we talk about physical fitness, we think so much about, and we hear so much these days about the obesity problem, particularly in industrialized nations. And what's interesting is this is not just a phenomenon happening in the United States and other Western countries. In fact, the World Health Organization, from an article published by the Associated Press recently, says that more than 1 billion adults are overweight now, and 300 million of them are obese. Now, that's more overweight people in the whole world than the undernourished, which number about 600 million.
Incredible.
That really blew my mind, that now we're not talking about a scientific or a medical problem in our world. We're talking about an economic problem. In fact, people in wealthy countries are leading in the fact that we're getting less physical activity.
Yeah.
But people in other countries, poorer nations of Asia, Africa, Latin America, they're quickly learning bad habits too,
Yep.
most likely from our own Western legacy, unfortunately. Thailand, for example, Public Health Ministry says that 1 in 3 Thais over the age of 35 now are at the risk of obesity-related diseases.
Wow.
That's just mind-boggling. Because I visited Thailand years ago, and you know, there was a rice paddy that we visited, and there was a person inside that rice paddy watching television right in the middle of a rice paddy in their hut. So television isn't the only thing to blame for lack of exercise. But let's talk a little bit about this. You know, a lot of people think that if my diet is good, that's all I should have to worry about. But what is it, Loretta, about exercise that makes it so critical in the balance of that makes it so that diet is not just the only thing that you need?
Well, exercise has so many benefits. You know, when you want to if you're going to eat right, don't you want all those nutrients to get to the various parts of your body? So first and foremost, it's going to take all that oxygen-rich blood and all your nutrients to all the different parts of your body. You know, exercise is going to also just keep your muscles and your joints, help maintain them as well as rebuild them. Yesterday, when I met Keely at the health club, this little old lady who you want to just grab her and hug her. She was so cute. I saw her and she goes, I said, where have you been? She goes, I haven't been here in a while because of something, but she said, I was starting to get stiff. And I know this is a relevant talk radio, a show for young adults, but the point is that it is just so vitally important for maintaining our joints, our muscles, helping with depression. I was telling Chris the other day that my best cure for a headache is to just go out and just run up a flight of stairs.
Get moving.
Let's talk about that for a second. You know, convincing people that they're really going to feel better as opposed to die young. I mean, we're not gonna motivate people on our program today by warning them that they're going to die from heart disease at a young age. But let's make a point clear. This article stated that children in this generation may be the first to die from weight-related diseases. They may be the first in history to die before their parents of weight-related diseases. So clearly there are some dangers, but we want to focus on the motivations to exercise today. Let's talk first about the social reasons why we should exercise. I want to ask Rick. You shared something about why exercise is important to you.
Well, for a lot of young adults, and now I'm married now, but I mean, initially, one of the reasons why I exercised and played sports, especially in college, was I wanted to stay in shape, not only for myself and the well-being, but also I just wanted to look good for the girls, right? I mean, that's a huge motivator.
I'll say
yeah, I can sit around my dorm room and not go out, or I could, look good. But now that I've, kind of moved in past that age and I'm married now, the motivator now is, I want to be around for my kids when they're 20, 30 years old. I don't want to keel over, with a heart attack when I'm 45. I want to be around. I want to enjoy life.
So there's a social motivator for you in that aspect.
Oh, yeah, huge one, yeah.
Keely, what about you? Emotional benefits for you of exercise. I know you've been working out. We're going to talk later after the break with you and Loretta and let you share a little bit about your accountability as workout partners. What has exercise done for you emotionally and mentally?
Absolutely. I think I just starting out when I was trying to start exercising, I just wanted to feel healthier. That was my number one motivator at the beginning. And I feel a lot better, have more energy. I've been able to set goals and accomplish those goals, which always feels good as well.
So you feel more confident about other areas of your life.
It spreads to everything.
That's
absolutely.
Great. Loretta, let's talk about, you mentioned some of the physical aspects of motivators for exercising, certainly gaining your energy levels. One of the things that I noticed is within 2 to 3 weeks, this research shows that your energy levels will pick up even if your physical appearance hasn't changed yet. So for those of you who are, and we're going to talk, in fact, this is probably a good transition into setting goals and getting started. Research shows that so often people get started and then they miss their goals and they fail. And there's really four key reasons why people fail. They'll say, this takes more time than I thought it would. They'll say, this is a lot harder than I expected. And the fourth is, I had no idea that I would be so busy. I have competing goals. And then, of course, being a dad, you can enter into the challenges and priorities.
Oh, yeah, trying to find time is it's a huge problem.
And then maintenance. Somebody says, I got into shape, and now I've kind of indulged myself, and now I'm back where I started. And then they're very discouraged.
Yeah.
There's a spiritual aspect. As I was getting ready and praying over this program, 1 Corinthians 6:19 says, we're the temple of God. Temple of the Holy Spirit. And if the same Holy Spirit that was living in the tabernacle in the wilderness for the Israelites is wanting to actually physically live inside of your soul and mine and Rick's, the greatest motivator of all, I would think, for us as believers.
Another verse that I really like, I'm glad you brought that up, but it's in Matthew, and I'm so sorry I can't quote the exact verse and chapter, but God tells us to love ourselves and you know, or to love others as we would like to be loved ourselves. Well, the key point is we have to be able to love ourselves and to be able to do right by us in order to then share and be loving and kind. And I think exercise helps build your mood. It helps you feel better. That's a quick result. You know, there's a quick result. And so then you can, you know, give that love to others.
Well, let's talk quickly for some people who feel stressed out. We had one listener to our exercise program that aired on recently that was, you know, she's a single mom, she's a student, she's a homemaker, she's an employee, she's all of these things, and just stressed out about how overwhelmed she is to balancing her priorities. And I think, Loretta, you mentioned something the other day when we were preparing for this. You know, God may be trying to tell us something. You know, if people have time, if you were to really ask somebody, do you have time to sit in front of the television and watch an hour of television 2 or 3 nights a week? There's something going on with priorities, aren't there?
Absolutely.
And maybe God is telling us we've got too many things on our plate that may not be as important as some other things.
You know, that's the thing we mentioned was that there is a lack of role models, I think, for many people. Yes, I think we're putting a lot of things on our plate. We're busier than ever. You know, many people, I think, try to earn more money because maybe they've bitten off more than they could chew. And then there's no parents or other loved ones or other people in their social group who are able to set role models on how to organize their life to fit it in, to find the time for the exercise.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the 3 exercise fundamentals. We're going to get in after the break and talk more specific about how you can apply some basic concepts to get started in your routine. But let's talk first about, you know, there's 3 different areas, and oftentimes people will focus on one or the other, and ultimately it's about what your goals are. But let's talk first. We have strength training, we have aerobic or endurance training, and flexibility training. Stretching is often the one people forget about the most. I know you mentioned, Loretta, you injured yourself recently and have been sort of out of commission for a while.
Pulled a hamstring, yeah, you bet.
So, you know, stretching is vitally important for a number of reasons, and it certainly helps your energy level and your sense of well-being beyond all of the reasons that you don't get as easily injured when you're flexible.
Right.
And obviously, there's a whole program just about learning how to stretch, but that's just a basic fundamental. Now, as we talk about what your goals are, some people may be wanting to be a runner, some people want to build strength. Do I want flexibility or do I want to burn fat? And most people just want to look good and feel good, you know? And in order to look good and feel good in general, the important thing to remember is you need to combine all 3 of those things. You know, aerobic is important for a lot of reasons. Strength helps you actually build your metabolism up. When you build your muscles, when you tone yourself, you're not necessarily going to get bulky. A lot of women are worried about working out because they're afraid they're going to get like Arnold, you know, or something. But it's really key to remember that balance. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a lot of these different strategies and share our personal experiences. And so as we go to the break, I hope you all will stay with us, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Chris Lang, your host today for Hope on Fire. And with me today is my co-host Rick Mann, Loretta Bacchiocchi, and Keely Kuhlman. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks.
Glad
Thanks
to
for
have
having
you back.
us.
Today our topic is crank up your energy. And for those of you who may want to catch this program, if you have friends who maybe haven't seen it or listened to it today, you can visit us on our website, hopeonfire.org. And there you can find a copy of the program on our website. I want to continue our discussion today. Some of you who may have never started an exercise regimen, Loretta, what would you tell somebody? Do they need a medical approval in order to get started?
Well, you know, experts do advise that if you are going to start, most people probably don't, unless you are over the age of 40 if you're a man, and over the age of 50 if you're a woman. And, of course, if you have any history of any serious, you know, medical problems, you should definitely get a clearance from a doctor.
Okay, but for most people who are listening today, it's probably okay to discuss moderate exercise, and we'll talk a little bit about that because I want to start hearing from all of you about your experiences. But before we do that, it's interesting for everyone who's in our audience listening today, to understand that exercise is a continuum.
Exactly.
And that a little bit helps a lot.
Yeah, not to adopt an all or nothing principle. Just because you may think you have failed in diet or whatever, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. You know, go ahead and start little, and you'll still get some benefits from it.
So we talked a little bit about, wanted to discuss how we can provide some simple ways for people to get started. It doesn't have to be a huge, gym membership and all of that, although some people can do that, and we'll talk some about that. But let's talk about a few simple things people can do just in their everyday life.
Well, I know what I did. Down here in Florida, we've got the craziest grass. It's thick. It's not fun to walk on. It's a chore. And one of the things that I did was I actually bought, when I bought my house, I bought a regular lawnmower, not one of those lazy self-propelled models.
Or a riding mower.
Or a riding, well, my lawn's not that big, yeah. I don't get paid a lot of money for the show. It's zero. I actually get paid nothing for the show. So anyway, I got a small yard. But the thing is that that just gave me something to do once a week. I have exercise. I'm out there for an hour pushing that thing. So.
And that takes care of one day out of the week.
Well, that's my exercise for the whole week, actually. Yeah. Call it quits after that. So.
Well,
we're going to give you some other steps. You can
oh, okay, good.
today.
I'll take notes. You know, get my pen.
I, on the other hand, had gained about 15 pounds, even though I think I've been pretty active. But, sometimes you do fall off the wagon. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I just called up Keely, and I said, Keely, you and I are going to the gym. I didn't allow her to back out on me.
Nope.
I made an appointment, made sure I had a guest pass. But actually, we don't just do things at the gym. It's been fabulous. It's been not since December now that we've
8 months. Yeah.
So now we even go rollerblading together, and
take walks through your neighborhood, all kinds of stuff.
And I think the thing that I really appreciate working out with Keely is that there's many times that either you don't feel like doing it, or goodness knows I don't feel like doing it, and she'll be like, come on, and I'm thinking, okay, if she can do it, so can I. So just by virtue of her being there, it motivates me to just keep going.
Right, absolutely. And I'll know that you'll be waiting for me if I don't make that appointment. And also it helps quite a bit as well, because I know that sometimes we're sharing the same pain.
Yes.
And then also we're sharing the same successes as well. We can reach those benchmarks.
You coach each other, really.
Absolutely.
It's like, hey, good job. That looked
motivating, definitely.
So there's a lot of value then in having somebody that you can call, a friend of yours or a colleague at work, that you can engage with similar interests, similar goals in health and wellness from an activity perspective.
Definitely.
I know some people at the building where I work who take lunchtime and walk around the building for 5 or 10 minutes. Again, exercise is a continuum. It's cumulative. And so there's a lot of things. What are some simple things people can do, such as parking further away from the entrance to wherever you work, taking the stairs? Now, Loretta mentioned an interesting thing. You've become a bit of a legend at your office at the hospital.
School. I was doing clinicals this week, and I took the students with me to see all the different ICUs. But I warned them I don't take the elevator, so I had them running up 5 flights of stairs all over the hospital, and they were winded, and they said, "Wow, you really do take the stairs everywhere, don't you?" So I didn't realize that I had
the word had gotten out around campus.
I had a reputation.
That's right.
The one thing I do want to say, Chris, though, is I want our audience to know that please do not wait until you feel like it. There are many times, even after I now enjoy the benefits, I know Keely does too, and yes, we're enjoying it a lot more and we look forward to it more, but there are times that I would much rather drive past the gym or call Keely and cancel, but I just know that I'm going to feel so much better afterwards. So don't let how you feel guide you into getting into a program.
I think that's important, especially if you have an accountability partner that you can call on. You're not always going to be in the same mood.
Right.
And you can really encourage each other to get out there and get with it, because you will feel better after you do exercise. In fact, there was an article recently that stated that if you're depressed and you're feeling down, even a 30-minute walk can improve your mood.
Right.
And science is bearing that out. So there are immediate benefits to even just basic exercise. Now let's talk for a few minutes briefly about moderation. How do you know if you've gone too hard? I mean, how somebody's watching or listening today in the audience and they're wondering, how do I know when too much is too much?
Well, I'll never forget the first time Keely and I went rollerblading. And audience, I don't want we don't want to discourage you, but we did go 18 miles. But poor Keely, I think she was behind the whole time, going, "Okay, this was
Absolutely.
definitely too much."
More than I signed up for.
But I think the cool thing about pushing yourself sometimes is like you discover like, wow, I can't believe I'm capable of actually
Yeah.
reaching that new height, and then you feel so good about yourself that you actually managed to accomplish
Right.
something new. It gives you such a boost of confidence.
For most people, an equivalent for moderate exercise, it's equivalent of a brisk walk, swimming laps, mowing the lawn, like Ricky were saying, where you're trying to elevate your heart rate, but and your face might be slightly flushed, and you're breathing a bit harder than normal, but still able to talk in complete sentences. So you might be rollerblading, but again, there's no hard and fast rule science says, but there is a target heart rate,
Yes,
isn't there?
there is. Yes,
so what
there
is that
is.
for our audience so they can know what that is?
Well, ideally, you want to be in about 85%, 60 to 80% of your target heart rate. And how would you figure that out? 200 minus your age, 220 minus your age times 85% would be the maximum of what you really should be hitting. Okay. So for most of us, that's somewhere between 120, 140, depending on your age. Obviously, the older, the lower it would be.
Now, some of you don't have the wherewithal to get to a gym for a gym membership. There's a lot of things that you can do at home with just 15 or 20 minutes, three times a week.
Couldn't agree with you more.
You can get a set of dumbbells and do bicep curls, tricep curls for arm strength. You can do push-ups. And these are things that I do at home. I don't particularly have time to go to a gym. For me, to dress down, get to the gym, pack the bag, all of that, it's just not convenient for my schedule as the way that I'm so busy. As well as doing leg lifts. Now, a lot of people will say doing regular sit-ups is hard on your lower back. So leg lifts are things that I do to help strengthen my lower abdominal muscles. And, of course, your abdominal muscles are some of the most important muscles in your body.
Right.
If you do anything to strengthen your stomach muscles, that's really important. For aerobic training, you can walk, you can bike, and a lot of these things you can do with your family, can't you?
Absolutely.
You talked about
Right.
trying to organize a way for Rick to get out with his 2-year-old boy,
Well,
Braden.
yeah, recently my wife and I have been going out with the double stroller. I'm telling you, that's a lot of work.
Aw.
So, yeah, and my wife says, hey, it's your turn. I'm like, okay, so I'm pushing that, so that's kind of nice.
I invited a trainer to come and speak to my health and well-being class at Florida Hospital College, and he said exercise 30 minutes a day is as simple as walk down your driveway, turn left, walk for 15 minutes, and then turn around and come back. And of course, you can start slowly. If getting to the mailbox is a big step for you, start there. That's
Right.
not, we don't have to walk 15 minutes, but eventually you can work up to that.
And what's interesting is a lot of people will ask you, what do you recommend is the best exercise? And for a lot of physicians who do a lot of physical education in their office, they'll say whatever you enjoy
Exactly.
Right.
most. To get you started somewhere with an activity that again is cumulative in nature. So that's really important. For people today who have gotten out of shape and they want to get back on track, remember what it was like when you felt good being active, because we're trying to, again, communicate the beauty of feeling good,
Yeah.
the positives of feeling energetic and being able to go about your day with confidence, as you said, Keely,
Absolutely.
in other areas of your life.
Right.
And I think, I had fallen off the wagon, gained that 15 pounds, and what brought me back, and thankfully Keely was there to help me do it, was remembering how good I felt, how I felt just even physically as well as mentally, just the extra energy. I craved getting back to that.
I think the important thing is to recognize that to stay healthy, it's not an option. Exercise is not an option,
No, it's
because many of us live such stressful lives that it allows you to go and engage in an area that you have some measure of control over in your life.
Exactly.
And you can engage with God spiritually while you're engaging in an area that you kind of feel you have a little bit of a cocoon in your life, that you can go out and do those things and feel good about yourself and good about life.
Didn't you love those Nike commercials where it showed the person and it was just them and and the pavement and just do it?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I just love that whole concept.
So let's wrap this up with 4 tips for success. Find an accountability partner if you've had difficulty staying motivated.
I highly guarantee.
do wonders.
Highly recommend it. Include all 3 components of your exercise into your lifestyle: strength, endurance, and flexibility. Train smart. That's the third point. Remember moderation and consistency, and stay with it even if you don't see results immediately.
Right.
You'll feel greater energy within a couple of weeks. And finally, being active is a process, not a destination. Staying in shape
Very
is a constant process of evaluating where you've been, where you're at, and where you want to be. I want to thank Keely and Loretta and Rick for being with me on the program today. You know, the best motivator is doing what makes you feel better and look better by integrating all three aspects of exercise into your lifestyle. Exercise, like time with God, requires a choice and a commitment. As time with God brings spiritual vitality to the Christian life, so exercise brings physical and mental vitality to the body. When people stop exercising, they immediately start getting weaker again, and so it is in spiritual things too. There's no doubt in my mind how the spiritual and the physical complement each other. My spiritual strength aids in my choice and commitment to persevere in my exercise. My exercise gives me a clear mind and more of a disposition to serve my God and feel good at the same time. I hope this program has blessed you today, and we hope you'll join us again next time on Hope on Fire. God bless you.
Hope on Fire is produced by Livestreams Media, a listener-supported ministry. To download a free copy of today's program or be a part of our social network, please visit our website at hopeonfire.org. You may also contact us by writing to Livestreams Media, P.O. Box 608513, Orlando, Florida 32860. Once again, that's Livestreams Media, P.O. Box 608513, Orlando, Florida 32860, or online at hopeonfire.org. Thank you so much for your letters and continued support. Until next time, may God set your hope on fire.